Chapter 61. My disciple Tang San has the qualifications to be titled Douluo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, it turns out to be the master. I didn't expect you to find Tang San so quickly. I'm really happy for you, master and disciple. As soon as they met, Huo Feng said a few words with a smile. Seems very polite. At this moment, 3 girls, Xiao Wu, followed behind. They were not familiar with Yu Xiaogang, and Tang San had never seen him just now. Therefore, he stood behind Huo Feng very obediently and did not come forward to talk to him. Instead, the 3 of them were muttering quietly. Is this master's disciple Tang San? Ning Romrom was the most gossipy. She quietly glanced at the 2 people in front of Huo Feng, and then a look of disgust appeared on her face. She knew Yu Xiaogang, and that was Tang San right next to him, although she also entered the blacksmith shop yesterday, but it was night and there were no lights in the blacksmith shop. Huo Feng and Dai Mubai were standing in front of him, blocking the already small space. She didn't see clearly what Tang San looked like. But this seems to be different from what the master originally described. I won't discuss the strength for now, let's just talk about the appearance. It cannot be said that it has nothing to do with the term a talented person, it has nothing to do with it at all. It's too much for this beggar to look like this. Now I can barely tell that he is a human being. This master brought Tang San to the academy. Isn't he trying to get him to join Shrek Academy? Ning Rongrong said carefully. They had all seen the relationship between the dean and Yu Xiaogang before. Although Tang San failed to pass the academy's entrance exam, with this relationship, it shouldn't be difficult to enter the academy. Probably. Zhu Zhuqing, who rarely expressed opinions on weekdays, said something rare, but it's still just 4 short words. It fully demonstrates her unique cold personality, in her opinion, although Tang San himself didn't understand it, but my first impression of it can be said to be very bad. Yu Xiaogang had given her a very bad feeling before. Being accepted as a disciple by such a person would most likely not be much better. Even people like Ma Hongjun, who was extremely wretched, and people like Dai Mubai, who were lecherous, had to be better than Tang San. The former 2 people only have physical disgust, while the latter is directly spiritual disgust. As for Xiao Wu, she frowned slightly and said nothing. She already knew Tang San, never paid much attention to it. Her only thought now was that there was indeed a big gap between Tang San and before. At least the change in appearance is quite big. She would rather focus on meaningful people or things than such boring people, just like Huo Feng in front of him. She would love to pay more attention to it. The 3 girls looked at each other. Although they didn't say anything, but the expressions between them seemed to have been communicated for a long time. Yesterday I found Tang San in a blacksmith shop in Soto City. Since it was very late, I didn't have time to tell you. I was planning to tell Dean Flender today, but who would have thought that you 2 would come so soon? Huo Feng pretended to be sorry. Although these 2 sentences were half true and half false, there was absolutely no flaw in his performance. No matter what, I still want to thank you, Huo Feng. Yu Xiaogang responded calmly. He also learned from Flanders' words yesterday that Huo Feng was the first to discover Tang San, then other students from Shrek followed in. Therefore, Huo Feng can be said to have 90% of the credit for finding Tang San. It's just that Yu Xiaogangs' stiff expression now shows no hint of gratitude. Harm, why are you so polite? Huo Feng waved his hand indifferently, and then directly asked a very tricky question. Now that you have found Tang San, why did you go back to Shrek Academy? Is that right? After speaking, he stopped immediately. It left a lot of room for imagination for the readers, and at the same time, it also choked Yu Xiaogang, who was about to continue speaking. He couldn't say that he was going to let Tang San enter Shrek Academy through the back door by relying on his relationship with Flanders, right? Disciples of the great master enter the academy in this way. The one who steps on the horse will not be laughed to death. It would be shameless to spread the word. Tang San Gung didn't even dare to let go of a fart. He already felt that he was not as good as Huo Feng. If he said it himself, wouldn't that be tantamount to indirect admission? After thinking briefly, Yu Xiaogang spoke. Tang San has found it, and it has settled my worries. This is a good time to bring him to Shrek Academy to rest, and at the same time let him study more with outstanding students like you. Yu Xiaogang solved the problem skillfully. He also praised Huo Feng and other Shrek students. Huo Feng smiled. This guy's cultivation is not very good, but he studies these messes quite clearly. Thinking of this, he called Xiao Wu and the other 3 people behind him to come forward. We have some things to do when we go to Soto City, so we won't stay any longer and say goodbye. After saying that, he didn't wait for any reaction from Yu Xiaogang and Tang San. Huo Feng directly took the 3 girls and left. When passing by Tang San, a gust of fragrant wind blew by. The latter's eyes turned red with envy. With Yu Xiaogang beside him, he had to pretend, which was really uncomfortable. Why is this kid Huo Feng not only powerful but also always surrounded by girls? And why is Tang San so unlucky? Tang San, you don't have to belittle yourself. Your talent is very good. As long as you practice hard in the future, surpassing Huo Feng won't be a problem. Speaking of this, Yu Xiaogang suddenly stopped, then he lowered his voice and said in a voice that only the 2 of them could hear clearly. Don't forget that you still have your second martial spirit. Tang San's body suddenly shook. Yes, he also has a second martial spirit. Although the cultivation of blue silver grass is somewhat unsatisfactory, but the second martial spirit is a real offensive weapon martial spirit. As long as you practice with concentration, your future will be limitless. Tang San was immediately filled with confidence. The same was true for Yu Xiaogang at this time. Tang San might not be clear yet, he just knew that his second martial soul was a hammer, but Yu Xiaogang knew that Tang San's hammer was no ordinary hammer, but the extremely powerful clear sky hammer. So what if blue silver grass is weak? Now we are just laying the foundation for the future second martial spirit, the clear sky hammer. Unknowingly, the picture of Tang San becoming an unparalleled powerhouse appeared in Yu Xiaogang's mind. My disciple Tang San must have the qualifications to be titled Douluo. That he was already getting more and more excited. Tang San and his father, Tang Hao, were both titled Douluo. The son of Haotian Douluo will definitely become a titled Douluo. By then, as Tang San's master, his status in the Soul Master world will naturally rise. Yu Xiaogang couldn't help but reveal a stiff smile on his face. As the 2 walked into the gate, he immediately quickened his pace and pulled Tang San towards the inside of Shrek Academy. Chapter 62. Isn't this Tang San? I haven't seen you like this in a few days. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Boss Dai, there were a lot of people just now, just pretend. Now there are only 2 of us in the room. Why are you pretending to be riding a horse? In the dormitory, Ma Hongjun looked at Dai Mubai with a lewd expression. He knew that the latter had a good reputation, but he was embarrassed to show it in front of the 3 girls just now. Unlike myself, I don't care about this at all, but now we are just 2 brothers, and you are still pretending like this. This is inappropriate. How sentimental. Fat man, who do you think I am? Am I who you thought I was? Dai Mubai raised his voice deliberately. Now even standing outside the room, you can hear his voice. According to the time, Huo Feng and the 3 girls should be back soon. He didn't want to reject the fat man out of anger just now. As a result, when he turned around, others saw the 2 of them going out together. Then I can't stand this old face. Okay, are you playing with me like this, Boss Dai? Ma Hongjun looked at Dai Mubai with contempt. The latter has a serious look. If someone doesn't know the other person well, he will really be deceived by him. When I first went to Soto City, I couldn't find a high-quality place. Later, it was only after Dai Mubai's guidance that I learned about those places with good quality and low prices. I am a poor man, not like Mr. Dai. Behind him was Dai Mubai, who occasionally invited guests to take him to experience what a high-end route was. Since then, Ma Hongjun has been calling Dai boss one after another. Boss Dai, can you take me to see you today? At this moment, a somewhat abrupt voice suddenly came from outside the door, then a figure rushed in very quickly. It was Oscar. Ma Hongjun and Dai Mubai looked surprised. When did this kid learn to be bad? Boss Dai, I just saw that Huo Feng and the 3 girls have left the college. Don't worry about the impact of your suave image. As soon as these words came out, Dai Mubai's eyes suddenly flashed. He grew up in a noble family, and the most important thing he valued was face. But now that this problem has been solved, there is no need to continue pretending here. Well, fat man, I went here today entirely for Xiao Ao's sake. Don't get me wrong. Dai Mubai stood up grandly, already starting to choose today's destination in his mind. Soon, he completed the screening. Today I will show you what the best is. Oh haha. Oscar was still a little embarrassed. When Ma Hongjun heard this, he immediately let himself go. that expression is simply not too outrageous. You're welcome, we're all buddies. Dai Mubai patted Oscar on the shoulder, signaling the latter not to be nervous. I'm treating you today. Let's have fun. Dai Mubai's main character is, among other things, a wealthy man. He opened the door and walked out in a flash. Ma Hongjun and Oscar looked at each other and quickly followed. The three planned to go directly to Soto City. Who would have thought that before leaving the academy, Dai Mubai suddenly stopped. The two people behind were a little confused, and Ma Hongjun quickly asked, "What's wrong, Boss Dai?" That he was very afraid that Dai Mubai would regret it. With his own financial resources, he doesn't know when he will be able to experience the kind of top quality he talks about. Dai Mubai didn't speak. He just raised his chin slightly and motioned the two of them to look diagonally forward. When I looked down, I saw two people walking forward quickly. The direction they were heading seemed to be where Dean Flender's office was. Isn't this the master? That the distance was not far, and Oscar recognized Yu Xiaogang at a glance. Then next to him is the master's disciple, Tang San, right? Ma Hongjun on the side felt slightly guilty. The news about Tang San was exactly what he told the dean last night. Unexpectedly, the master and apprentice came to Shrek Academy early in the morning. It seemed a little different from what he thought before. Yes, it's the two of them. Dai Mubai said calmly. He was also a little confused. Why did Tang San come so quickly? After all, he also hates the former very much. Although his strength is not that great, he can still pretend, especially when he failed to pass the college's entrance exam, and now he's still trying to get in. Including Yu Xiaogang, who has no interest at all. To sum it up briefly, both the master and the disciple were quite annoying to him. Hey, isn't this Tang San? That I haven't seen him like this for a few days, and his clothes look like rags. Why are you here at Shrek Academy? That without warning, Dai Mubai shouted directly in the direction of Tang San. This was something Oscar and Ma Hongjun didn't expect. Yu Xiaogang and Tang San stopped immediately when they heard the sound. Turning his head, the latter saw Dai Mubai at a glance. All the shadows from before suddenly came to mind. Tang San's throat rolled. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva, but he didn't dare to reply. Yu Xiaogang next to him felt something was wrong and took a step forward. I was just about to take out the two sentences I used to deal with Huo Feng and use them casually. Us. Who has ever wanted to say something, only to be pushed back by Dai Mubai? Oh. It turns out to be the master. That's okay, you two can do whatever you want. Walk. That the last sentence he said was to Oscar and Ma Hongjun. After saying that, the three of them walked towards the entrance of the village without looking back. Yu Xiaojiang's cheeks twitched and sank slightly. This Dai Mubai is really a bit arrogant. After all, he can be considered a teacher at Shrek Academy now. You don't know how to respect your teacher. I must give it a good hammering in the future. Pulling Tang San, who was a little dazed beside him, he walked straight towards Flanders' office. Pushing the door open, the latter was sitting at the table. Seeing Yu Xiaogang coming with Tang San, Flanders didn't show the slightest surprise on his face, as if he had expected them to be waiting for them. He simply said, "You are here, sit down." There were two chairs placed in front of the table, obviously prepared for the two of them. Yu Xiaogang was not polite at all and sat down directly. Tang San was not so embarrassed, and he pretended to shirk a few words before sitting down. After all, he is still young, and his face is not as thick as Yu Xiaogang has already cultivated. Since we are all our own people, I won't hide it. If anything happens, I will tell you directly. As soon as Yu Xiaogang sat down, he spoke his thoughts straight to the point. His trip had two purposes, but actually it's all about Tang San. Okay, tell me. Flanders nodded slightly, his expression still unchanged. I want Tang San to enter Shrek Academy to study. As the dean, you should have this power, right? That Yu Xiaogang said his first request without any hesitation. Chapter 63. Everyone knows that Yu Xiaogang is not a normal person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before Flender could say anything, Yu Xiaogang spoke again. There is another requirement, that is, I want to become an official teacher of Shrek Academy. Tang San is my disciple, I don't trust other people's professors. Saying that, Yu Xiaogang shook his head gently. His face was full of arrogance. Flanders frowned slightly. With Yu Xiaojang's tone of voice, those who didn't know it thought he had something to ask him. one request was not enough, but two requests were made. The first one asked Tang San to enter Shrek Academy, which he had thought of, and I had already anticipated this result last night. Otherwise, we wouldn't have given the students of the college a day off this morning. He knew that his thoughts were a little confused today and he couldn't think of any good teaching content, but the second request seemed a bit unreasonable to him. Becoming an official teacher of Shrek Academy means that every student must pass through his hands. You know, the teachers with the lowest cultivation level in Shrek Academy have all reached the level of Soul Emperor, even if he agrees to this request. But it is very likely that it will disrupt the teaching order, and other teachers will not agree. Yu Xiaogang has many theories, but theory is just theory after all. How can he compare with the real cultivation experience of other teachers when his soul power is only level 29? Moreover, there was something in Yu Xiaogang's words that made him very uncomfortable. That was because Tang San asked others to teach him, and he didn't feel at ease. He was not happy to hear this. Doesn't this mean that all the teachers in my college are inferior to you? You know, he was taking huge risks by letting Tang San join Shrek Academy. I'm afraid the teachers at the academy don't think much of your precious apprentice at all. Thinking of this, Flanders looked at Yu Xiaogang solemnly, his eyes directed at the latter. He shook his head slightly and said seriously. The first one I can agree to is to let Tang San enter Shrek Academy to study. Having said this, Flanders paused for a moment before continuing to speak. But I cannot agree to your second request. As the Dean of Shrek Academy, I must be responsible for all the teachers and students of the academy. After speaking, Flanders picked up the teacup on the table and took a sip of tea, then he leaned directly on the chair behind him and began to close his eyes and meditate. What he said was quite polite. It depends on whether Yu Xiaogang can understand it. If you are a normal person, you will definitely accept it happily, but everyone knows that Yu Xiaogang is not a normal person. He frowned slightly and immediately expressed his question. Flanders, what do you mean? Do you think that with my strength, I am not qualified to be a teacher at Shrek Academy? Hearing this, Flanders opened his eyes. He didn't say it directly, he just showed an undeniable smile. I didn't say that. The arrangement of teachers and teaching tasks in the college is already a very mature system and is not suitable for arbitrary changes. But since you are not at ease with Tang San, you can choose to teach him personally. This is within the allowed range. It's just forget about the other students. Flanders took another sip of tea. What he said was very tactful and clear enough. If Yu Xiaogang still can't accept it, then there is nothing he can do. After hearing the second half of the sentence, Yu Xiaogang's expression relaxed a little. Being able to teach Tang San himself would already meet his requirements. It's just a pity that I can't attack other students in the academy. Okay, so be it. Yu Xiaogang nodded. As of now, that's all it can do. Although he is not a normal person, he is not stupid either. Flanders didn't look good. If I say it too much, there's no telling what will happen. Tang San beside him felt joyful in his heart. But he didn't show any expression on his face. To be able to study in Shrek Academy, it is still taught by the teacher himself. With these 2 points alone, he was very satisfied. What if you didn't pass Shrek Academy's entrance exam? I haven't successfully entered the academy like you. Of course he knew that all this was because he had such a good teacher. It's a pity that you can't find this kind of teacher. It can only be enjoyed by me, Tang San. Yu Xiaogang, I have something private to say to you. At this moment, Flanders suddenly said this. He looked at the two people in front of him and glanced at Tang San. The latter immediately stood up knowingly, clasped his fists and leaned over to give a slight salute. Teacher, Dean, you guys chat first. I'll go out and walk around to get familiar with the college's environment. After saying that, he exited the room directly, not forgetting to close the door tightly. If you have anything to say, just say it. Yu Xiaogang also discovered that Flanders called him by his famous name. It seemed that the distance between the two of them had been further distanced, and the familiar feeling before was gone. You and I met each other when we were young. Although we haven't seen each other for some years, our friendship remains the same. That's why I took such a big risk and chose to help you, but this is also the last time. In the future, if something happens again, I may not be able to do anything about it. After speaking, Flanders skillfully picked up the teacup and took a sip of tea, then he leaned back on the chair, his eyes slightly closed, not knowing what he was thinking. Hearing this, Yu Xiaogang's face darkened, and he clearly looked unhappy. I just asked him to help me with such a small favor, but he would say such a thing to me. Snort, that Yu Xiaogang snorted softly in his heart. He really didn't expect that the friendship that had lasted for many years would be so worthless. I didn't feel at all how shameless I was. I have asked Flender to help me so many times. Have I ever thought about whether I have provided any value to the latter? Was it to provide Shrek Academy with a student with mediocre talent and useless martial soul blues silver grass? Or is Shrek ushered in a teacher whose soul power is less than level 30, and whose martial spirit is even more demanding to die? Okay, Vlad, I took note of it. Yu Xiaogang also didn't say it clearly, but the meaning of his words was already quite obvious. He and Flanders could never return to the innocent friendship they had when they were young. Hee. After hearing this, Flanders sneered in his heart. I still place too much emphasis on friendship, otherwise there wouldn't be so much trouble. In the end, Yu Xiaogang still had such a name in his heart. It is impossible to know whether he misjudged people when he was young, but now Yu Xiaogang is really not worth investing too much energy. You go to Vice President Zhao Wuji and he will arrange a dormitory for you. Flanders still didn't open his eyes and said something casually. Bang! Thought he didn't hear Yu Xiaogang's response, but only heard the sound of a heavy dragging of a chair. When I opened my eyes, the place in front of me was empty and there was no one around. The chairs are messy and the door is wide open.